Hello. Thank you for being with me. I want to say thank you first to my church community because they make me a better person. And I really hope that you have friend groups and communities that do that for you. And I have to say that I have been very deeply blessed in my life to have people in my life who have encouraged me, uplifted me, have loved me, even when I'm hard to love, who have shown me an example, who've done all kinds of things for me. But one of the things that my church community does for me is to challenge me. And I don't mean to challenge me like, oh, you're wrong about that, but to say, well, have you looked at this thing? It's pretty cool. And one of those things is this book that a person in our church has suggested for a Bible study. And it's called Inspired. And it's an odd title for a book that is so much about doubt. Now, I haven't listened to the whole thing. I'm listening to it in my car right now as I go back and forth to work. Thank God for technology. But what I can see is that it is a book where doubt is a big part of what the author is talking about. She comes from an evangelical world where everything was pretty clear, and yet she is inviting us to doubt, which is kind of strange, really. And a sentence that I listened to today really struck me. And she said that Christians use the Bible as a way to stop a conversation, and Jews use the Bible as a way to start a conversation. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Probably it's a pretty general statement, but the content of it, the idea of it is wonderful because it's true. Christians often use the Bible to stop a conversation because it tells us what to do. It's so clear. It's right there. It's just plain as day. Just read it and do it. It tells us if you want to, how to dress and who to have relationships with, who to get married to. Everything that you want to know is right there in the book. But the funny thing is that there are people who will look at the same part of the book and go, no, it's not that. It's this. Now, one of the things that I've thought about since I was an undergraduate is three things that I've tried to live my life around, often failed, but when I am successful, my life improves. And when I'm unsuccessful, my life suffers. And those three things are, one, the examined life is not worth living. Two,
unexamined life.
Thank you. The unexamined life is not worth living. I sometimes feel like the examined life is frustrating, and that is true. It is much easier to just go through life knowing what it's all about. And some people are able to do that. I am not. The unexamined life is not worth living. Two, love God, love your neighbor. Three, to thine own self be true. Now, those three things, two of them are not specifically in the Bible, but the Bible is consistent with all three. And here are some of my friends, some of the Bibles that I use. Right? These are the three I use most. And you can see this one pretty much needs to be replaced. I've looked at it a lot over the years and carried it with me everywhere and marked it up. And there was a time when marking your Bible was not okay to do. And I remember when it started becoming okay. It was around the 1970s when a lot of people were doing Bible studies. Anyway, this Bible is well marked up. This Bible is the one I go to when I want to look at the author of the Bible and a little pressy about it. And so anyway, if you read this stuff, there will come a time when you come across a passage and you will go, what? No, that can't be. And you'll read it again and you'll go, that is what I thought it said, but I don't get it. It's all over the Bible. All of us will come to a place where the Bible stumps us. And Genesis 22 through 30, for me, is one of those passages that I just don't understand. But it's also the story of how Israel got its name. It's told in Genesis, as the title says, and Genesis is really, for the most part, a tale about a family. It's a family story, and this is a part of the family story. It's a part that concerns Jacob, and Jacob is the son of Isaac. There's Jacob and Esau, and Isaac is the son of Abraham. Abraham, the father of nations, Isaac, his son, and his sons, Jacob and Esau. And there's this story, and it goes like this. The same night he got up, Jacob got up, and took his 2 wives. His 2 wives. I guess it's okay to have Adam and Eve. That's odd. His 2 maids and his 11 children, and crossed the ford at the Jabbok. So he crosses the river. He took them and sent them across the stream, and likewise everything that they had. So he's on the other side, all by himself, left alone, and a man comes up and wrestles with him until daybreak. Hey, dude, you want to wrestle? Okay, let's wrestle. So they wrestle all through the night. And and Scripture says, when the man saw that he did not prevail against Jacob, he struck him on the hip socket. And Jacob's hip was put out of joint, and Jacob still is able to wrestle. I've never had my hip get out of joint, but I am told it's pretty painful. So he keeps wrestling with this man, and then things get really strange. And the man says, let me go, for the day is breaking. What is he, a vampire? And Jacob says, I will not let you go until you bless me. And so he said to him, what is your name? And he said, Jacob. And the man said, you shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel. For you have striven with God and with humans, and have prevailed. So who is he wrestling with? God, who is also a man? I thought that only happened the one time. And Jacob asked him, please tell me your name. And he said, why is it that you ask me my name? And there he blessed him. So Jacob called the place, and I'm going to butcher the place name, Peniel, saying, for I have seen God face to face, yet my life is preserved. Now, I posit to you that is a passage in which we are invited to doubt. And the truth of it is that not to let the Bible have doubt within it is to do it a disservice, because it is everywhere in the Bible. Just in Genesis alone, why is it that we're not supposed to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Shouldn't we want to know what's good and evil? And why would we die if we eat of it? God, when he finally tells us God's name, is completely ambiguous. God's answer is, not he, not she, God's answer is, when asked what God's name is, God's reply is, I am, which can also mean, I was, I am, I will be. I cannot think of a more ambiguous and yet marvelously constructed idea of who God is. But it invites conversation. It invites doubt. It invites engagement. If we do not doubt, we do not engage with the text. Why does God do what he does to Abraham and Isaac? What does it mean with that Jacob, who becomes Israel, is wrestling with an angel, a man, and a God at the same time? Now, doubt is something that is everywhere. Most of the world lives in doubt. Economic doubt, political doubt, religious doubt is something that is bred into the fabric of most of the world. And it has come to us as well. Economic, political, religious doubt is all over the place. And when we are in doubt, we search for things that we can count on, things that we can stand upon. But the problem with that is if we do not examine those ideas, we can go very far wrong indeed. A few days ago, I had an interaction with a woman who came into the church and wanted to pray because she was going to a funeral. And as soon as she came in, she announced what side she was on her button. And we've done that before, right? We've done that when we had big peace signs on our shirts. That symbol was a symbol of stress and strain. It caused division. It identified you as one side or the other. And so this woman began to talk, and it became very quickly apparent that she was delusional in her beliefs. And I don't use that word lightly. A delusion is a belief in something that is demonstrably false, where the evidence shows that it is an incorrect belief. How did she come to that? I wondered. And I think you do not come to that all at once. You come to it gradually, because you start by being certain in one thing, and then you look for things that support that thing that you believe in, and you gather in all of those things, and you don't gather in all the things that might challenge that belief. And if you're stepping in the wrong direction, you will continue to step in that direction until you get very far out from what is the center and what is real. And as she was talking about all of her lost relationships and how grievous that was. When we engage in doubt, when we challenge our own beliefs, when we look at our beliefs and are willing to change those beliefs when evidence shows us something else, when we engage in that way with the Bible, we engage more fruitfully. We learn how to love, how to engage with the world in serenity and calm. And all of that takes a lot of practice. And one of the things that I learned in that conversation was I have very strongly held beliefs that I need to look at continually, constantly. What I learned was that she was in pain. And what I learned was that she was there for a funeral and to grieve and mourn and not for a debate. So the next time that someone like her comes into your life, and she will, be grateful for the practice. There's a phrase that is attributed to Augustine. It's been also attributed to Wesley and other people. In essentials, unity. In non-essentials, liberty. In all things, love. There is the essential in the Bible. And though there's a lot of content in it, the essentials are very simple. Jesus says, love God and love your neighbor. God says, I love you. I have a plan, and that plan will make you better. And the Spirit says, I can give you power when you feel powerless. That is what is essential. I cannot make that woman love me. All I can do is to love her. That is the message of the Bible. let us go and do that thing together in community. God bless.